tornado warning is now in effect. This is unfortunately going to be a problem through the evening.
Thunderstorms, severe, moving east-northeast.
All of a sudden, things have intensified. Mother Nature's messing with us right now.
It appears we have a tornado on the ground.
If you're in this area, you need to take cover. It's dark, can't hardly see. Trust us, that tornado's on the ground.
Extremely dangerous situation here for our friends and neighbors in this area.
We got damage.
We heard a roar, and it was about a 10-minute ordeal.
You could hear metal tearing, this terrible squealing noise.
Numerous reports of damage coming in now.
This is a path of destruction.
It's disaster everywhere we go right now. All of these local communities are hit. Their roofs are gone. Their homes are gone.
It was unbelievable. I'd never seen anything like it.
Ahead of the Storm is presented by Burgraff Disaster Restoration.
Severe weather in Oklahoma is volatile, and if you're not prepared, lives can be at risk. Good evening. I'm News on 6 Chief Meteorologist Travis Meyer. Keeping you and your family safe is our #1 priority. And tonight, we want to keep you ahead of the storm. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll show you the new high-tech tool in our arsenal that helps us track storms even better when the weather turns severe at night. And as we mark the 20th anniversary of the deadliest tornado outbreak in Oklahoma history, we'll share with you just how $50 a month could save your life if a tornado tears down your street. Triple tornadoes left a path of destruction across 2 counties in northeastern Oklahoma last fall. A popular marina took a direct hit. Dave Davis shows how those families are recovering.
Folks around Cookson, you should be in your storm shelter right now.
But it's more than the sound. I mean, your whole body vibrates.
This has a history of producing damage.
I was like, we've got to go. And so we went to the bathroom, and you could hear it go over.
The aftermath of the EF2 twister that hugged the eastern shores of Lake Tenkiller is still evident. Skip Johnson and his wife Susie survived the powerful storm by bracing themselves against a water tank and a concrete wall.
It was quite an experience.
Now, in less than 4 months, they're bouncing back and their home is almost move-in ready.
You want to curl up in a ball and it serves no purpose.
Snake Creek Marina was hit so hard, it's difficult for Amy Brown to put a dollar amount on the damage.
Oh my gosh. Millions, probably.
Brown is not only Snake Creek's spokeswoman, but she and her husband had a boat here that was blown across the cove into a campground. Brown says the owner, general manager, and any help they can find have been out here working dawn till dusk every day. There are still many boats that are either submerged or unclaimed by their owners.
We want to see it come back as fast as possible. You know, obviously we see there's tons of work.
She hopes that they will have 60 slips installed and ready to go by May 1st. That's still only a third of what they had before.
And as is the case with many tornadoes that we've covered, the extent of the damage isn't always obvious to casual observers.
And now all the trees are gone. So that's where the tornado dipped down.
Brandi Little co-owns 6-Shooter Resort, a full-service marina with slips, a restaurant, mobile homes, and cabins. She says the tornado came within yards of her own house and did structural damage to the marina. They've sunk $150,000 and 1,000 hours of labor into it so far.
You have about 6 months to make 12 months of finances to get you through the winter.
As the rebuilding continues in this lakeside town, whether it's the couple who lost their retirement home,
A lot of help from friends and neighbors and the contractor.
or a marina that's starting over from square one, there's a sense that brighter days are ahead.
I am very impressed with the progress.
In Cookson, Dave Davis, Oklahoma's own News on 6.
Some Oklahoma insurance companies now offer discounts to homeowners with tornado-resilient or fortified homes. The homes don't look any different from the outside, but each one is built with materials that can withstand up to an EF2 tornado.
Granted, they are things, but protecting those things and those memories is real important to me.
Homeowners can save up to 40% on their insurance. Thousands of people use our News on 6 weather app and website every day. Now those numbers skyrocket when the weather turns bad. And we have made some changes to our online radar. That's to help give you the best information possible in real time. Meteorologist Ellen Crone shows us how.
Warn radar is the exact same radar we use here in the Weather Center to track severe storms when they roll across your hometown. Go to the News on 6 weather app or to the main weather site at newson6.com. The radar application is easy to find. It's the large icon here on the main website, and it looks like this on the News on 6 weather app. The interface features an easy-to-use grab, click, and zoom function, allowing you to zoom down to street level in your neighborhood. If storms or showers are located over your area, find the opacity tool on the right-hand side. Move this toggle to the left, and you'll see your street level mapping more clearly. You can create a loop of the data by moving this button left. After it loads, press the large play button and start your loop. To slow down or speed up your animation, use the plus or minus toggles here. Not only can you view radar data, you also have the option to view satellite imagery, lightning detection, and of course, the very latest warnings and watches from the National Weather Service. Simply click on those icons and add the data. Since WARN radar is mostly used for our immediate local areas, we've also created a new national radar interface that covers the entire nation. You'll find the exact same functionality with this NextRad composite radar and even more forecasting tools for the lower 48. Our new online WARN radar is just another reason you should download the free News on 6 weather app today.
When the weather turns severe, News on 6 has the largest team of storm trackers keeping Oklahomans safe. Tonight, we're taking you on the road and behind the scenes with Vaughn Castor. Vaughn, give me an update on what you have, would you?
It appears we have a tornado on the ground.
I've been chasing storms for 33 years. They need boots on the ground, and that's us. And that's why we're there, is to warn people ahead of time, and hopefully they can take their precautions to be safe.
Okay, we got damage. We got trees down right here at the Gore exit off 540, Travis.
And I've been notified from several people that, you know, we were watching your live stream, we were watching Channel 6, and if it had not been for your reports, we would not have known to take cover.
There it is. It's a very large lowering.
We have it down to an art. Organized chaos. And what that means is it looks like it's chaos if you were just to look at it from the outside, but we're very organized and we know where each other is.
There's got to be damage in it, yeah. There's trees blocking the road to this addition. So there's going to be damage.
You don't want to see anybody hurt or killed, but you really, you know, as a storm tracker, you want to see Mother Nature, you know, at its worst or at its finest.
Let's go back down to Vaughn if we could. Vaughn, if you could, give us a quick update from near Bixby. What do you have?
Yeah, I don't know what hit us all of a sudden. It just had a gust of at least 65 miles an hour.
They really appreciate what we do out there and the work that Channel 6 Weather, that our WARN team does.
It's just kind of in your blood now, doing this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't ever leave, ever.
Throughout the night, we'll introduce you to more members of our storm tracking team. Plus,
a tornado was there, and my dad was really quick to get me out the building.
we'll tell you the 3 things that can increase a child's fears about tornadoes and severe weather. And new radar technology is being developed right here in the Sooner State that can do much more than predict storms. And still to come, my exclusive spring tornado forecast. Trav's Wild Weather Camps travel to area schools to teach kids about severe weather in fun, interactive ways, so they won't be afraid and will stay safe when the weather turns violent. Some people feel powerless during severe weather. Our children can feel that even with just rain. Meteorologist STACIA Knight helps us walk through some of the things you can do to make sure your children don't have that fear.
It was loud.
So this is right where the circulation is.
I just heard like a thump, 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 and a tornado was there.
8-year-old Broden was at church with his dad when a tornado barreled through Claremore.
I was shaking a little, but I didn't, I was like, what? What just happened?
It's been 3 years since Broden survived Mother Nature's wrath, but behind his sweet smile and his nervous giggle, there is constant fear.
I'm really afraid, so I'm trying to get over that.
Come on in.
Hoping to ease his anxiety, Broden's parents brought him to News on 6, and Travis showed him all around the Weather Center,
Draw your name up there.
pointing out the tools that we use to keep families safe and ahead of severe storms.
When you go outside and you watch the weather, does thunder ever scare you or not?
Okay, yes, it does.
Okay, well, it kind of scares me too, so don't tell anybody.
Giving them information often causes them to be less anxious. Knowledge is power.
Dr. Leslie Barnes tells me she's treating more and more children with weather-related anxiety.
She says it can stem from a personal experience with bad weather, from hearing friends talk about storms, or even watching severe coverage on TV.
They can have very irrational, what we call catastrophic thoughts about things. They may think exactly what you said, that they may lose their home, they may lose family members.
She says parents can ease their child's fears by reminding them they're safe. It's also a good idea to have a severe weather plan and practice it.
And they have tornado drills in schools, but it's probably equally as important to have a plan at home.
Kids learn better and remember better when they actually act something out or role play something.
For older kids who may be home alone when storms roll in, Dr. Barnes suggests having someone they can call who will answer immediately, or arrange for them to go to a neighbor's.
All right, come on over here with me.
Meanwhile, Broden is using books to soothe his fears, and he encourages other kids to do the same.
They should try not to be afraid. They should study them more so they won't be as afraid, because they would know what to do better.
When that 300-mile-an-hour wind hit, it was like somebody opened the gates of hell.
We look back at moments seared in Oklahoma history after the deadliest tornado outbreak our state has ever seen. Plus why shifts in Tornado Alley could put a bigger severe weather target on green country.
Throwing lots of debris. It's very intense at the surface. Very intense.
This May marks the 20th anniversary of the largest, most destructive tornado outbreak in Oklahoma history. 40 people died on May 3rd, 1999, when severe weather spawned 72 tornadoes. Dozens of people who were on the road that day huddled under an overpass as the eye of the EF5 twister passed overhead.
She had every reason to live. 2 beautiful kids, a husband that loved her. It was sad. I felt guilty. I don't understand why God let me stay. I don't understand why God answered my prayers.
And among all the heartbreak and devastation, there was a tiny miracle. A Grady County deputy found a 10-month-old baby face down in the mud about 100 feet from her leveled home. Little Aaliyah was ripped from her mother's arms by Mother Nature's monster, but miraculously only had minor cuts and bruises. New research tells us that Tornado Alley could be shifting. Meteorologist Mike Grogan takes a look at the dangers that poses for Tulsa.
26 years. That's how long it has been since a major tornado struck the Tulsa metro area. Many still remember the devastating F4 tornado that hit CATOOSA in 1993. But that was over a generation ago, which makes it easy to fall into a false sense of security. The reality? Tulsa is vulnerable to a major tornado strike. In fact, the probability is growing for a tornado between an EF3 and EF5 to hit the city for 2 specific reasons. The developed part of Tulsa is simply a bigger target than ever for a tornado. In the past 4 years, 3 EF2 tornadoes have struck the immediate Tulsa area. Factoring in tornado trends over the past 60 years, Tulsa now has at least a 3% chance to be struck by an EF3 or stronger tornado in any given year. The other reason for heightened concern relates to climate change. In a recent study co-written by Harold Brooks, a scientist at NOAA's National Severe Storm Laboratory in Norman, Tornado Alley may be shifting east.
Both the changes in the environments and the changes in reports tell a similar story of a greater probability of tornadoes occurring in the Mid-South region.
Should Tulsa find itself squarely in the middle of Tornado Alley later this century, then its position could be similar to that of Oklahoma City. The study also indicates that our tornado season is happening earlier, which means now is the time of year to prepare for our volatile storm season.
Darren Stevens has been tracking storms for us for the last 15 years. But tracking storms at night can be very dangerous. They're hard to see. Our storm trackers have to be extremely careful, but tonight, a new tool is making their job easier and keeping your family safer.
In Oklahoma City, their bad weather occurs during the day, while the sun is still up, so you can see. But 90% of the time over here in eastern Oklahoma, our stuff comes at nighttime. And unless you have a storm that's, backlit by lightning, it's virtually impossible, to verify that there's a tornado. in there. I started doing some research a couple of years ago on FLIR cameras, and after about 18 months of looking, I found one, and so I figured out how to capture it, how to digitize it, and I mounted it. With this type of camera that we have full 360 rotation, we have pan and tilt. Our goal with this is, as we have a rotating thunderstorm approaching Tulsa County, is to be out there. If it has no lightning with it, we're going to be able to look in this storm and report back to our weather center if we see a tornado or not. 100% we're going to be able to tell. Whereas in the past, you just happen to look at it and catch it between lightning strikes. This is still in testing phase because we haven't had any tornadoes to put it into action. But so far, in the severe weather that we've had it in, it's performed outstanding. It's going to take tornado warnings to a whole different level. We hope that this provides an additional level of safety to our viewers. We want to save lives, is what we want to do with this.
Let's go to News on 6's Dustin Stone joining us live in Osage Sky News 6 HD.
The high-definition camera inside Osage Sky News 6 gets us up close to storms during severe weather. Radar is also a critical part of tracking tornadoes. The new technology being created right here in Oklahoma is so advanced, it's getting the attention of the U.S. Armed Forces. Meteorologist Stephen Nairns explains.
Inside the Radar Innovations Lab at the University of Oklahoma, some of the brightest minds are at work.
We're trying to come up with ways to better predict tornado formation, so we need to understand why tornadoes form.
The lab's team of more than 100 engineers, professors, meteorologists, and students are doing that with their mobile radars.
That's exciting. You get to actually see the storm and collect the data.
Mounted on the back of a truck, the team drives the radar into the field and sets it up ahead of the storm.
You have that reference point of seeing this beautiful thunderstorm and can relate what you see visually to what you see in the data.
They've collected data on 30 to 40 supercells and 15 to 20 tornadoes, including the 2013 tornadoes in El Reno and more.
We had our dual polarization radar scan the storm every 20 seconds at one height, so we could see the evolution of the tornado throughout its full life cycle.
Now the team is taking the technology further with Horus, a mobile radar testbed funded in part by a nearly $5.5 million grant by the U.S. Department of Defense.
When complete, the U.S. Navy will use Horus to help in many public safety missions.
The Navy got interested in what we're doing, so now the Army is also interested, and it's kind of exploding. The interest is exploding.
The plan is to use the radar for weather monitoring and air traffic control and surveillance.
My exclusive spring tornado forecast is just 2 minutes away, plus the life-saving decision you can make to protect your family during severe weather season. Every Oklahoman should know where they're going to go if a tornado is headed to their home. Storm shelters have become increasingly popular in the Sooner State, and companies are doing their best to make them affordable for families. Joshua King survived the Joplin tornado and now sells safe rooms.
When you see your town, completely devastated and taken away, it really throws a lot of things into perspective.
You may be wondering, can I even afford one? And the answer is yes. Many companies allow monthly payments. They start as low as $2,000, and they can be financed for as little as $50 to $70 a month. Now, the cost goes up the bigger the storm shelter gets, allowing as many as 14 people to fit inside and take shelter from the storm. In Oklahoma, storm shelters save lives. It's a fact, and it can be the very best investment you can make for you and your family.
It's a matter of where we live. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's a matter of when.
It was a crazy winter, and a lot of folks are saying, is that going to happen again as we move on into the spring? Well, we can tell you this. El Nino has had a huge impact on our weather. And what has that brought? Well, basically, El Nino brings very warm waters, ocean waters in the Pacific. It also messes with the winds. And when it starts to mess with the winds, it starts to mess with us. Now, the one thing is El Nino is weakening. That doesn't mean a whole lot right now, but with time, it will change the jet stream pattern. As well as the jet stream changes, so will storm tracks. As the storm tracks change, that will influence our weather because we have been stuck in the southern branch of the jet stream being very powerful. The northern branch has been powerful too, and that's what's kept us wetter than normal across a big chunk of the United States, and also wet from the Rocky Mountains all the way into California. And the cold weather, well, it's been confined to us. But real warm weather has been in the southeast part of the United States and Alaska in the extreme western portions of the Pacific. Now, as we go forward into the month of March, there's not a whole lot of changes as we end the month. We still have the same northern branch. We still have the southern branch. But what gets interesting as we go into April, the northern branch is a little bit less enhanced. That means the really cold weather shouldn't be as infecting us quite as much. But the southern branch is still active, and this continues on into May. And as this continues into May, that means storm after storm could have a huge impact on what we're thinking. And that means as well that we could have mid-latitude cyclones that will be bringing in dry lines, warm fronts, cold fronts that set up for severe weather. That severe weather is not what we really want to see. So our forecast is for cooler than normal weather just slightly, and also unfortunately a higher chance of precipitation. That also means that unfortunately we do have risks that are very high for tornadoes, wind, and flooding, and a hail risk that is moderate to high as well. Thank you for joining us tonight. And for more information on these stories that can help keep you and your family safe and ahead of the storm, head on over to our News on 6 app. Please join us for News on 6 at 10. From all of us, good night.
Ahead of the Storm has been presented by Burgraff Disaster Restoration.